Your mother-in-law saw the toddler in your bed last weekend and said the words you've been bracing for. He'll never learn to be independent. You smiled, nodded, then spent the next hour wondering if you've been quietly damaging your kid. Here's what 40 years of attachment research keeps finding. Kids who shared a bed with their parents in the early years develop one specific trait by adolescence that surprises every researcher who measures it. And it's the exact opposite of what your mother-in-law warned you about. You've been told co-sleeping creates clingy, dependent, fragile kids. You're not imagining the pressure. Pediatricians, in-laws, parenting books, the friend at the playground who wants you to know her son slept through in his own crib at 6 weeks. The data tells a very different story, and most parents never hear it. I'll walk you through the 4 reasons co-sleeping develops this trait, plus how to apply the science even if your kid sleeps in their own room. Stay for reason 2. It's where most child psychologists quietly stopped worrying about the family bed. Here's what the science actually finds. The single quality that keeps showing up in long-term studies of children who co-slept safely with their parents is something attachment researchers call secure independence. Not clinginess, not fragility, the opposite. By age 12, 15, 18, these kids tend to handle stress better, ask for help when they need it, and walk into hard situations without falling apart. They are, by every measurement we have, more emotionally self-sufficient than peers who slept alone from the start. The grandmothers had it backwards. The parenting books got it backwards. The friend at the playground who was so sure her sleep-trained 6-week-old was going to be the resilient one also got it backwards. There's a reason every culture in human history slept their babies near them until very recently. We are mammals, and our nervous systems were designed to grow up in physical contact with another nervous system. Once you understand the 4 mechanisms behind why, you'll never feel guilty about the family bed again. Reason 1. Their stress system was calibrated by your nervous system every single night. Babies and young children cannot regulate their own cortisol. That's not a parenting opinion. It's a developmental fact. Their stress hormone system is still wiring itself, and it does that wiring by syncing with a calm adult one. When your child sleeps next to you, their heart rate slows to match yours. Their breathing falls into rhythm with yours. Their cortisol drops within minutes of physical contact. This isn't sentimental language. It's measured in saliva samples in actual research labs. Picture 2 kids. One spends the first 2 years self-soothing alone in a crib down the hall, crying through the cortisol spikes that come with every night terror, every fever, every weird noise the house makes at 3 a.m. The other spends those same nights pressed against a parent who, even half asleep, slides a hand onto their back and brings them back down without ever fully waking up. 10 years later, when those 2 kids face a hard test, a bad breakup, a friend who turns on them, which one has a nervous system that knows what calm actually feels like? The kid whose body learned the blueprint. The kid who has encoded in their muscle memory? The answer to the question, how do I come down from this? Now, picture your 15-year-old getting yelled at by a coach. Some teens spiral for days. Some take a breath, go for a walk, and come back to themselves in 20 minutes. The difference between those 2 responses isn't willpower. It's what their nervous system learned was possible in 1,000 small moments before they could even talk. Quick tip if you aren't co-sleeping right now, or your child is past that stage, physical proximity at any age reproduces some of this effect. Sit next to your kid on the couch when they're spiraling. Don't talk first. Just match your breathing to theirs and let your nervous system do what it was built to do. They will borrow your calm without you saying a word. This works at 4. It works at 14. Reason 2. The independence paradox. Here's the part that still makes pediatricians uncomfortable. The kids who cling least at age 10 are usually the ones who clung most at age 2. Attachment research has a name for this. It's called the secure base effect, and it works in a way that feels backwards until you actually watch it happen. A longitudinal study followed children who co-slept safely against children who slept solo from infancy. By age 6, the co-slept kids scored higher on independence measures, lower on anxiety, and showed better self-control under stress. The researchers were so surprised by the data, they ran the analysis a second time. The pattern held. Here's why. A child who knows in their bones that their parent will be there when they need them stops checking. They don't have to keep one eye on the door at the playground. They don't have to keep asking if you're going to leave. They've already answered that question in 1,000 small moments, mostly at night. So they go play. They take risks. They walk into the new kindergarten classroom on the first day and don't look back. Picture a mom named Elena and her 7-year-old, Matteo. Matteo slept in Elena's bed until he was 4. The grandmothers warned her, he'll never separate. But on the first day of 2nd grade, Matteo walked into the building, hugged her once, and said, "You can go now, Mom. I'm okay." Elena cried in the parking lot, but not for the reason she expected. That's the paradox. The kids we expect to be dependent are often the ones who feel safest leaving. The ones we worry about are usually the ones who learned, very early, that the world has a return address. If your child is older and already sleeps alone, the principle still applies. Independence isn't built by pushing kids away. It's built by being so reliably present that they don't have to keep checking. Reason 3. Their empathy circuits got wired during REM sleep. This one even surprised me when I first read it. Children who sleep close to a caregiver dream in different conditions than children who sleep alone. Their bodies pick up subtle cues all night long. The rise and fall of a parent's chest, the small sound of someone shifting in their sleep, the quiet, almost subliminal feedback that another human is there, breathing, alive, safe. Their brain, during REM, is doing some of the most intense social cognitive work it will ever do. And that work is happening with another person's signals layered through it. The result, by middle childhood, is a noticeable bump in empathy scores. Co-slept kids tend to read facial expressions a little faster. They identify emotions in stories with more accuracy. They notice when a friend is upset before being told. Some attachment researchers think this is one of the most underappreciated outcomes of secure early co-sleeping, because empathy is the trait that quietly determines whether your kid will be the friend who shows up or the friend who doesn't, the classmate who sees the new kid sitting alone or the one who walks past. Here's what that looks like at a kitchen table. Your 8-year-old daughter walks into the room and stops. She looks at you, frowns, and says, "Mom, are you okay?" You hadn't said a word. You didn't think your face was doing anything. But she read it. In under a second, the way she's been reading the room since she could read at all. That sensitivity didn't come from a lesson. It came from years of falling asleep with a person whose feelings she learned to feel. Tip: even if your kid is past the co-sleeping stage, you can recreate this attunement during the day. Read a book together with your bodies touching. Tuck them in for 2 minutes longer than you normally would. Their empathy circuits are still hungry for this kind of input, all the way through adolescence, especially through adolescence. Reason 4. They learned big feelings are survivable, because they survived them with you. This last one is what makes the whole thing stick. A toddler in a dark room with a nightmare faces a problem their nervous system cannot solve alone. The fear is bigger than they are. If they have to face it solo, night after night, their body learns one of 2 things. Either I shut this feeling down because nobody is coming, or I am drowning in this feeling because nobody is coming. Both responses become wired in. Both follow them into adulthood in ways most therapists spend years trying to undo. But a toddler who turns over in the dark, finds a parent's arm, and feels their fear move through their body and out the other side, learns something different. They learn that fear is a wave, not an ocean. They learn that big feelings have a shape and a beginning and an end. They learn you can be terrified and still be okay. That lesson scales. By the time that child is 16 and going through their first heartbreak, their body has a record of having survived hard things in your presence. They know, on a cellular level, that emotion is something you can move through, not something that drowns you. You gave them that record by being there in the dark. even when you didn't know you were doing it, even when you were too tired to know what you were doing at all. If your child sleeps alone now, you can still build this. The ritual of going to them when they cry out in the night, sitting on the edge of their bed, putting a hand on their back, that does the same work. You aren't creating dependency. You are handing them a scaffold their nervous system will use for the rest of their life. But the part almost no parent realizes about all of this comes next. Your child isn't broken for needing you at night. And you aren't broken for needing them close. What you've been doing, even on the nights you doubted it, is the most ancient form of love we have. You've been calibrating a nervous system and giving a small person their first proof that the world has a return address. If this shifted how you see the family bed, hit subscribe. New videos every week on the psychology nobody warns you about. Tell me in the comments, how old was your child when they last fell asleep next to you?